Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday night comic book preview stream here at Fantasy Books and Games. I am Aaron, and I will be doing the stream by myself tonight because, it's just standard normal work reasons. There's really nothing to nothing to say about it. But I got a small stack of new books that are coming out tomorrow that we're going to talk about, and there's actually several collected editions that I'm actually pretty excited about. But yeah, and I guess I should say real quick that since I'm doing this night by myself, we might run a little short. We shall see. You know how I do like to ramble on and talk sometimes. But like we always like to start with facsimiles, and there's no super old facsimiles. Hey, Jesse Bills, thanks for tuning in. But there is one facsimile coming out tomorrow, and that is Civil War #4. I've been a little remiss. Hey, Axelman. I've been a little remiss about showing off the Civil Wars. Marvel has been reprinting the original Civil War series from 2006. They're going to do all 7 issues, and I haven't really looked into it. I just assume that it's because it's the 20th anniversary of the series, so they're just putting it out again. But if you never read it before, this is an opportunity to get the issues. It's definitely a good looking book by art by Steve McNiven. It's written by Mark Miller, and this issue in particular is like just nothing but superheroes fighting each other. And you also get these great vintage ads like Avatar box set on DVD. But yeah, so Civil War, they got this is issue 4. They are going to issue 7, which will be coming out each month. I think I talked about the first issue. I might have skipped issues 2 and 3, and that's my bad. I didn't necessarily mean to do that. But yeah, Civil War, check it out. Classic 2000s Marvel. Also, I remember reading it at the time, and it was obviously very, very popular. But I think it's only gotten more popular because it is, yeah, it's a big story, and it plays with a lot of classic Marvel tropes about how the characters kind of always fight with each other over various kind of silly reasons. And this one tries to add a little gravitas, a little like a real reason why they would fight because of political shenanigans. But yeah, and obviously the popularity has only grown since it's basically the whole idea was appropriated for the Captain America movie, which just exposed it to an even larger audience. So yeah, classic Marvel series. Let's see here. We got a few collected editions. I'm going to show. That is the only facsimile coming out tomorrow. But there's several older books back in print in various ways. DC is continuing to kill it with their digest books, and they've got another great one coming out tomorrow. We Three by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. And I am not exaggerating when I say this is one of my favorite comic books of all time. And it is a really, really simple, high concept. It is Homeward Bound meets RoboCop. That's it, 100%. It's also a very, very, very sad story. It's about 3 animals that are freed from an animal testing lab, and they were being experimented on to create a new type of weapon that was basically like a living weapon. You know how like cosmonauts first sent dogs into space. It's that kind of a thing. And so you have these animals, a dog, a cat, and a rabbit in these like mech suits. And basically they escape and they try to find their way home, and the military chases after them to try and decommission them, aka kill them. And it is, like I said, it's kind of sad just because it's got that thing where violence toward animals just really, really pulls on your heartstrings. Like we can see people get mowed down left and right all day, and it doesn't matter. But the minute you see an animal like harm come to an animal, like there's just something inside of you that you just cannot control your feelings on that. But this is one of the greatest comics ever made. Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely. We will be talking about both of them later in this stream. Also, we just recently got, and I think this might have come out a few weeks ago, but we got copies of Battle Pope by the great Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore. I think it's both of their first works. Tony Moore and Robert Kirkman would, of course, go on to create a little book you might have heard of called The Walking Dead. But before that, they were self-publishing this book, and then Robert Kirkman kind of got in with some of the guys at Image, and he made The Walking Dead and Invincible, and the rest is history. But this is one of the first books that he made with Tony Moore, and it's basically the Pope as a superhero. And it's, if you cannot oh, I guess I should be careful about which pages I turn to on this. It's definitely R-rated, and if you cannot tell, it is very satirical, and it is definitely a comedy, but it is pretty silly and pretty over the top. I have not actually had a chance to read this entire series, so I'm very glad we got these in, and I am looking forward to reading the whole thing. It's pretty absurd. The Pope, as you can see, there's Jesus. A little, maybe a little sacrilegious, but the Pope and Jesus become roommates, as I understand it, and then there's, like, a war between heaven and hell that he gets caught up in, and it is just, like I said, silly satirical superhero action with a lot of religious imagery. So Battle Pope, we've got, this is the entire series. It originally came out, oh gosh, I mean, it was the early 2000s, before Walking Dead, before Invincible. It might have been 2000, if not 2001ish. And it's never been collected in a complete edition before. And by the way, this edition is really nice. I like that it's done up to look like a Bible. You can see it's got the gold trim on the pages, and there's even a bookmark for it, like a cloth bookmark, or not cloth, but you know what I mean, fabric. So yeah, very, very cool. Very excited that we got this in. Also coming out tomorrow, another reprint that's been in print several times, but it's one of my all-time favorite books. I'm talking about Criminal, but I'm not just talking about Criminal. I'm talking about Criminal Bad Weekend. This is one of my favorite criminal stories. The show has been in the works, and it's gonna be at Amazon soon. I think that's why this is getting a reprint. A criminal series at Amazon. But this is one of my favorite criminal series from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, the Masters. And this one is specifically about double crossing and lie and thievery, all within the comic book industry. And so, if you know anything about the history of comics, there's a lot of great Easter eggs in this, a lot of references that, if you're not familiar with a lot of the golden age of superheroes, that some of it might be over your head, but I don't think it is necessary to enjoy the story. It is just a straightforward crime drama, and it is fantastic. And like I said, if you are way into comics and if you like comics, this is the crime comic for you. All right. There is a couple of other, not necessarily new, but new books coming out tomorrow. We've got copies of a new variant cover for Batman #1 by Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. This is an exclusive new cover. This is a variant cover. It's the first issue. We talked about it. Yeah, there you can see the original cover there. But this is an exclusive cover from a new distributor. That it's not for, I mean, for this is just like shop talk for those of you that know about it. It's not from Lunar, which is the normal DC distributor. I forget the new one that we got it from, but yeah. So this is an exclusive cover. You can only get it from this one distributor. So we got several copies. So if you need to get all the variants, or if you missed out on the first printing of Batman #1, which I know a lot of people did, here's your chance to get. It's a variant cover, but it's still a really good. It's a cool cover too. This is yeah. Just look at that. That is nice. So we talked about the first issue when it came out. It's pretty solid Batman series. I am enjoying it so far. I'm curious to see where it goes. Also, we just got in. This is a reprint, but this is another one of those exclusive reprints for Dark Knights of Steel. This is a special preview version that DC has put out. It's just called the Dark Knights of Steel: The Gathering Storm Special Edition. What it does is it reprints the first 3 issues, I believe. It says the first 3 issues of the graphic novel collection, which I'm going to assume are the first 3 issues of the original comic series. But what's nice about this is that we have a specific promotion going on in the store, where it is, I think the cover price on this is, it is $5.99, but you can get it for free with the purchase of any DC graphic novel over the $14.99 or higher. Like, so you won't get it for free with any of those DC Digest compact editions, but any other graphic novel hardcover. You can get a copy of this for free, the first 3 issues of Dark Knights of Steel, which is if you can't tell from the cover, by the way, I don't know if we've really talked about this series on the podcast, but if you can't tell, it is an Elseworld story that's basically the DC universe in like medieval times, kind of a setting. Which I do have a soft spot for Elseworld DC Elseworld stories. I think they're always kind of neat. I just haven't had a chance to read this one yet, but it looks like this is a perfect opportunity to get started. All right, I got one more book that's not necessarily new, but it is new. And I am talking about Capes by, I guess I got to stop covering up my face. Capes by Robert Kirkman. And this is illustrated by Mark Englert. And you might be looking at this and saying, oh, Capes, what is this? Like a new Invincible spinoff series? Well, not exactly. As you can see, it does say, as seen on TV in Invincible. What this is it is a reprint, but it's also I guess you could call it a touched up deluxe edition of the original version. If I'm not mistaken, the I never read the original version, but this came out shortly after the success of Invincible. There were several comics that Robert Kirkman had kind of in production, and then Invincible, well, after the success of Walking Dead and then Invincible, he kind of got the green light to do a ton of stuff at Image, and so he did a lot of spin-off books like Capes. He did one called Tech Jacket, and there was a book called Brit, and they were all just kind of 3-issue series that he did. So if you could not get enough of Robert Kirkman and Invincible, you could get all these little side series, and this is one of them. And this is a series that is about Capes Incorporated, which is basically like a superhero corporation. And it's pretty standard. I don't want to say standard, but it's what you would expect from a Robert Kirkman superhero story. There's definitely a comedic element to it. There's a lot of goofy, weird designs, which I like. But the notable thing about it, I think the original one was in black and white, so this has been colored. And the artist, Mark Englert, actually went back and he touched up a lot of the art. I think he redrew some of it. I don't know how much has been redrawn, but this is a pretty solid looking book. And I'm excited to read this. And so the plan is, according to Robert Kirkman, they're going to reprint the original 3-issue series. Then they're going to reprint the stories that appeared as backup or back matter in Invincible issues at some point. I can't remember which issues those are. And then they're going to start doing new stories, like new comics. So you can jump into if you can't get enough of Invincible, because Invincible is so hot right now. What with the animated series, of course, and Battle Beast has been doing great. So you get this nice little Invincible spinoff. Starts with a reprint of old material, and you can tell it's a reprint right at the very beginning, because there is a reference to David Letterman, the Catch the David Letterman show, and I don't think Letterman retired, right? Like he's done, right? So yeah, it's definitely an early 2000s reference for you. But I'm looking forward. I enjoy Invincible, and so it's nice that they're giving this a kind of a redux, updated version of it, and curious to see where they take it in the future. Also, these characters they have appeared in the Invincible animated series, so I think that's part of the reason why Robert Kirkman kind of wanted to just get it out there, because why not? You got him. You gotta. He's Robert Kirkman is a good businessman. He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to monopolize his comics. Okay, let's move on to some actual new stuff. My stack of super new stuff is pretty small. There is one gigantic release tomorrow, and that's the one that I will be saving for last. But we'll quickly run through a couple of books that are in my regular poll that you hear me talk about all the time. Of course, GI Joe comes out tomorrow. The Dreadnought War Part 2. I love this comic book series, not just because I love GI Joe, but because I really love artist Tom Riley. He just makes it look so cool, the world of GI Joe. And look at this beautiful double page spread of the Dreadnoks. The Dreadnoks they've always been my favorite characters in GI Joe. They're basically just Mad Max biker gang from Florida, and they're all weird and yeah, it's fantastic. And this whole issue is just basically one giant car chase almost. Just it's Duke and Cobra Commander on the run from the Dreadnoks. Fantastic, really good. Also coming out tomorrow, Red Book 2. We talked about Red Book 1. This is a continuation. The first two series were called Blue Book. This is Red Book because it is about alien abduction and paranormal stories that took place in Russia, and so that's hence the Red Book, and it's just all the different stories that have leaked out of 20th century Russia, Soviet Union. And this is a really good series. This is written by James Tinian and art by Michael Avon Oeming. And I'm a sucker for this type of stuff, the real alien abduction stories. Not that I believe that the aliens, not that I believe the stories are real, but I'm fascinated the way these stories come about and the types of people that have these weird experiences that they can't explain. So yeah, this series is really good. I also really do recommend Blue Book, which we talked about that one as it was coming out on the stream so many year ago. I don't remember. Also coming out tomorrow, The New Gods number 12. This is the final issue of Ram V and Evan Cagel's run. And I have to admit, I've kind of fallen off the last couple of issues. The series was kind of losing me for a while. I think it was just moving a little too slow. So I am curious to get caught up and then read this ending and see how it goes. One thing I do want to note, one of my favorite things about this series is the way they have guest artists do the first couple of pages, which are like an introduction story. And this issue has the great Phil Hester drawing New Gods characters, and I really like it. It's very Mike Mignola esque, and Phil Hester is an artist that I've always really liked. So this is fantastic. Very excited about that. And then Evan Cagle is no slouch either, as you can see. His is like just really cool looking book. So we shall see how the ending if the ending delivers, I should say. And then maybe when the trade paperback comes out, we might talk about it in more detail with Sam when he can be back as well, because I know he was reading it. And yeah, we shall see. Fingers crossed for a satisfying ending, though. You never know with comics these days. Okay, got a couple of other books here. This is probably the book I'm most excited about this week. Probably not the book most people are excited about, but this is the book I was most excited about, The Twilight Zone #2. And why am I so excited about this, you might ask? Well, aside from really liking The Twilight Zone, this issue is written and drawn by the great Tom Scioli. He illustrated one of my favorite comic book series, Godland. He's done a ton of independent stuff. He did biographies about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And if it isn't obvious from looking at his art, he's very influenced by the king, Jack Kirby. And this is a great Twilight Zone story. Oh yeah, Tom Scioli also did a Godzilla series last year that we talked about. That was the Monster Piece Theater, I think, is that one, which was also really cool. But this one, I really like this because it does feel like a classic Twilight Zone. He gets to draw weird monsters, but also, as you can see, there is a lot of talking in this, because I don't know how many of you actually remember old episodes of the Twilight Zone, but it was a very conversational type of show, because it was an old show from the uh, late 50s, I think, when it started. And so, they had these cool concepts and ideas, and a lot of it was characters talking about it and working through their problems or issues or whatever. And so Tom Scioli definitely captures the spirit of that, of these characters really kind of digging deep into whatever's happening to them. And yeah, it's a cool one. I liked this a lot. It's, as you can see, it's about astronauts. They land on a planet, and then weird stuff happens. Like I said, it gives Scioli a chance to draw odd aliens, and it had a great, if I may say, it had a really great ending, like that classic Twilight Zone irony, like, but not super obvious either. It's really good. So probably my favorite issue of the week, probably for sure. Anyway, let's see. I got one new book from Marvel to talk about. They've got their X-Men books, and I haven't really been following those, so I can't. I think there's the Last Wolverine comes out tomorrow, and there's another one, the Book of Revelation. Next time, when Sam is back next week, I'll have him talk more about some of the new X-Men. But there is a new book that caught my eye, and that's Nova Centurion. Nova is a character that I do not know a whole lot about, but I've always kind of had a soft spot for him. I can appreciate the cosmic level superheroes, and that's basically what this is. He's a superhero in space, so it's like a little bit like Star Trek, but with superheroes is a way you could put it. And this was a pretty okay issue. I have to say, I actually did read the whole thing, and it's I can't say I'm super interested in the like the ongoing plot that they've set up of like what they're gonna do, but it this was a good first issue. Uh, it's basically just Nova kind of going on a superhero mission, reestablishing himself, and then he teams up with a new character that's going to kind of get his there you go. You can see Pip the Troll, who is I don't know if that's a specific character from Thor or it's just supposed to be a troll from the world of Thor from like because trolls are characters in the Thor book Asgard and they're one of the realms. I don't remember too much about it, but yeah, it's solid and it's good looking too. This is another thing I I think Marvel has kind of maybe they heard me complaining about the art in the average Marvel book, but Alvaro Lopez, this is a pretty okay looking book. I mean, grading on the Marvel scale, this is fantastic. So yeah, if you like Nova, I think you will be satisfied with this. If you are look, I should say it's written by Jed MacKay, who I think is one of the better guys at Marvel right now for sure. But yeah, if you like Nova, if you like sci-fi, action, superhero adventure, definitely check out Nova Centurion. All right. I have another book here that caught my eye, and that is Final Boss by Tyler Kirkham and David Miller. And this is, if you can't tell from the cover, I would honestly describe this book as a mix of like video game Street Fighter, but with some superhero stuff thrown in, and that's pretty much exactly what it is. There's I didn't read this whole book, but I did kind of skim through it. I didn't get a chance to read it, but it's pretty big. It's like an oversized issue, and this character basically, I think from what I gleaned from it, he's kind of like a superhero for hire situation, and he's hired to do this like cage match against this other character, as you can see the what's his character's name, Chain Pain. And as you can see like flipping through it, there's like some stylization of like classic fight games. Yeah, there's the big double page spread of like the verses, and you got their stats and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool looking book. It's definitely a fight. It's definitely I think the way they describe it on the back, fight, power up, repeat. Somebody calls it hardcore. They're definitely pushing the like violent aspect of it. But although I gotta say, flipping through it, I didn't really get a sense of like ultra violence the way I do flipping through a book like Battle Beast or even kind of the random Garth Ennis comic, you know. But still, it looks pretty interesting. Cool, good cover by Tyler Kirkham. It just might be the type of thing that you're interested in. All right, I got one more book. Like I told you, we were going to kind of end early. This might be a 30-minute episode, but there's probably a lot of things to say about this last book. It's definitely the book everybody is anticipating tomorrow, I think. And that, of course, is Batman and Deadpool #1. Now, just to be clear, no, this did not already come out. The book that came out 2 months ago was Deadpool Batman. This is Batman Deadpool. Marvel and DC teamed up for this crossover. They are each publishing a single issue. So Marvel published Deadpool Batman, DC is publishing Batman Deadpool, and they each kind of have their own house creators working on it. So the big deal about this book, if you haven't heard, is that Grant Morrison is back and he's writing the main story, the Deadpool Batman story. Grant, of course, famous for his run on Batman, and so I was curious to read this art by Dan Mora, who that guy just like never stops drawing. That guy draws everything. He's drawing Transformers right now, and also DCKO, and also Batman, Deadpool. Like I don't know where this guy finds the time to draw so many comics, but yeah, this main story is pretty solid, as you might. It's a very Grant Morrison story, if that makes sense. It's very like if there was one person who I feel like was kind of made to do a fourth wall breaking heavy Deadpool story. It's Grant Morrison. That's a little bit of his bread and butter, going back to like Animal Man and stuff like that. And so yeah, this was good. I have to admit, I wasn't totally sucked into the concept, but there were just because like I've said it before, but like multiverse, I'm kind of just like tired of multiverse stuff, and I'm also tired of meta commentary stuff. Like that's also a little played out. But and without, I won't spoil anything. I don't think I want to go past a few pages here, but there was some what how shall we say, interesting appearances in this story that I did not actually expect. So I was pleased with that. We do see the return of a character that Grant Morrison was very. It's a Grant Morrison character. Will say like a character that Grant wrote at Marvel. I'm doing my best not to spoil it, but I thought that was kind of neat. It was cool to see that character return. There was another big surprise that I kind of rolled my eyes when I saw it, but also I kind of secretly really loved it, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, then it kind of ends the way all the other ones do, and then we get the backup stories by other creators. This Doctor Strange Hellblazer, John Constantine Hellblazer story is particularly good just because they're a great pair to team up. There is a what else is in here? Nightwing and Laura Kinney Wolverine, which is something that I honestly like. When I saw it, I was like, I don't really care about either of these characters. I have to admit, but they did a good job. Tom Taylor, I have to admit, did a good job kind of tying them together thematically because both of them are living in the shadow of their mentor character, Logan, Wolverine, and Batman, of course. And there is a Harley Quinn and Hulk story, which I did enjoy. This one was appropriately silly, like in a way like that that I you don't necessarily expect. Because like I was really expecting like an obvious Harley Quinn and Deadpool, you know, uh, love fest. I don't know, where they both just spend 4 pages quoting pop culture references at each other, and nobody really did that in either of these crossovers. So I got to give Marvel and DC credit for having the restraint to not have any of their characters do that. But yeah, so this is the next issue of the crossover. I think I talked about this when the first one came out. I still feel like it's a bit of a cop out to just do an oversized issue that has the main story and then a bunch of backup stories. I really wish they would just commit and just do several issues, like kind of give these other characters full stories, full issues, to do something fun with them. But whatever. There are so many variant covers coming out for this series. I did not grab them all to show off. I did grab one, which was the one that instantly caught my eye, and also the one that I was super excited about, and that is this variant cover by none other than Frank Quitely, who I just mentioned earlier at the top of this stream, the artist from We Three. Frank Quitely worked with Grant several times, uh, notably on X-Men, their new X-Men run, and We Three, and Flex Mentallo, tons of stuff. So this is a pretty great variant cover. It is also, I just recently saw online that it is actually an homage or a reference to another piece of art, a classic piece of art, but I haven't looked into it too much to see what it is. But I think the artist, what did I see? I think the artist's name might be Jim French, something to that effect. But anyway, yeah, very, very cool. This is definitely my pick for the best cover of all the variants. You can come in and see for yourself. There's literally a dozen of them. But yeah, that's everything I got for today. So I think we're going to call it short. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Aaron here at Fantasy Books and Games. Like our friend Dan says, there's comics out there for everybody. It's not just superheroes, although sometimes it is a lot of superheroes, but sometimes it's the Twilight Zone and the Pope getting Jesus as a roommate and getting into shenanigans. So yeah, definitely I'll see you all tomorrow, and have a good night. Bye.